All I know that this shows is that, John over here is just a perv.
Right.
Oh, no!
I look for nipples where they weren't once before.
I don't intentionally look for...
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Is that what the kids are doing these days? Lying about their love of the nips?
Oh, God.
I'm gonna shut up.
Listen, I wish more people had nips. I went to the freaking Free movie.
No
and
nips
wanted
in
nips,
sight.
and there's never nips there.
Oh, no.
Nips are good.
きっと約束だよいつかまた同じ笑顔で
Hello and welcome to episode 54 of Annie Chatbox. I'm going to apologize in advance because Halloween came early and we have some screaming children outside of our door, but we're going to make do because we already missed 1 week of hanging out with you guys there at home, and we want to make it up to you by having one of our host choice today. But before we get to that, I figured I'd let everybody introduce themselves before we do our lovely little links like we always do. So, hailing from another place with screaming children, we have Cammie.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening again. And yeah, I'm pretty used to the sound of screaming children being a preschool teacher. So yeah, but now I get that moment of resting and weaving out, which I can't exactly do at work. So thanks for being here.
You can if you try really hard.
I do kind of, like, some of the teachers were talking about Japanese food today, and I'm literally just here like, takoyaki, ramen, udon, I know it, I love Japanese food too, I'm a fucking weeb. So,
Nice.
Alright, and hailing from literally next door, I have good old Gregory.
Hi, how's it going, internet? Is it Halloween or is it coming to be summer? Because either way, I don't know why Pennywise really likes this neighborhood, guys. I'm surprised the cops haven't been called at this point. Hi, how's it going? I hope y'all are having a lovely day today. Yeah.
And hailing from good old Britain, where nothing bad ever happens to children ever, is John. That's a dark joke.
Anyway. Hello.
Like, damn.
Hello.
And by children, I mean John actually building a model kit.
Yeah, I've been hurting myself a lot lately. I've been pretty accident prone, but
I was about to say, can you please refresh and restate that sentence? It sounded pretty bad. I've been hurting myself recently.
Yeah, not intentionally. I whacked my elbow on the door frame today, and yesterday I stabbed myself with a knife, trying to, just a small prick, but trying to build a model kit. Going back to Japanese food, though, I got a Taste Japan box yesterday, and in it came a pack of sweet dango. And, dango.
Daikazoku.
Yeah, I shared that with my mom, and we really liked them.
Nice.
You ate the big Dongo family?
No!
Wow.
It was a pack of 3.
Oh,
And
I'm
you
sorry.
ate
The
them
smaller
all.
the family, the better for your tummy, I suppose.
It's even more satisfying.
Oh no.
I forgot to mention, I actually tried takoyaki recently.
How was it?
You did!
It was pretty okay. I was expecting it to be kind of but it was okay. It's not something I'm probably going to go out of my way to order by myself, but if I have a friend who likes it, I'd be like, yeah, I'd be willing to go halvesies with you on that $6 plate of takoyaki.
That's,
Did you... Oh, go ahead, Craig.
No, well, I'm just refresh my memory again. What's takoyaki? It's
Fried octopus
it's
balls.
octopus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Cassie, did you manage to not burn your mouth when you had
Nope.
it? Because
Nope. I bit straight into it, and oh my god, I did not know. I didn't fucking know. I was crying. I was trying not to spit out The taco, because this was my first date with my my boyfriend, by the way. He came to visit for Valentine's Day. And our first date was karaoke and sushi maki. Would totally recommend if you're in the Portland area. But anyway, we went to karaoke and we went to get this. And the first thing I said was, let's put some takoyaki. Let's try it together. And I took a big old bite and I wanted to die.
Thankfully, I walked around a little
laughing.
before I bit into the takoyaki I had.
Well, you're patient. I was gonna say, the only reason that I was laughing is because, no, that's me every single time. I know the suppressed pain, and you're, like, trying to look calm, and it's like, there's an inferno in my mouth, and I am dying. Sometimes I'll, like, desperately sip water to make it not look like I'm tormenting myself. It's just, it's hard, man. It's an art. It's an art form.
It's not even spicy. It's just hot, and it's actually liquid lava in your mouth.
Exactly.
Jesus, and you know, I would love to get up and walk around when I watch, eat my taco, but I'm in a freaking dining, restaurant. You don't do that. You don't go, I'm gonna take a walk with my takoyaki.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a lava cake brownie gone wrong.
I had it at, a mini convention kind of thing, so they actually just had a little takoyaki store. So there wasn't, there were places I could have sat down and eat, but I had to wander around a little bit. Before I actually bit into mine. And oddly enough, when I had it, I was like, that's alright. Probably not going to go out my way to get it. And then a week later, I was like, I fancy some takoyaki. I fancy more.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Well, before we continue to talk about Japanese food and or snacks, I want to go ahead and let the viewers or listeners at home let you know the good old deets that we normally throw your way, which is that you can follow us at twitter.com/theanniechatbox, or you can email us at anniechatmail@gmail.com. Again, that's anniechatmail@gmail.com. We have a couple of emails that we've gotten from our very dedicated listener that we're going to have to read next time. But I'm just going to let them pile up and just, watch her progressively get more and more excited. But we'll work those into next week's episode to keep her guessing. But you can also have an email read. You could give us a topic. You could ask us a question. Ask how many bodies John really has hidden under his bed. He might tell you.
Oh, God.
You only know if you write in and ask. However, one question I can answer is where you can find us. So if you're listening to us on iTunes or YouTube, do know that you can also listen to us at Google Play, Stitcher, and TuneIn and SoundCloud. Good to know. And if you'd like, you can also donate to us at patreon.com/AnnieChatbox.
Take the screaming kids as enthusiasm to do so.
I am so sorry. We're not even going to try and edit this out. Just take it as
Oh, no.
an adventure.
Just do it.
An adventure,
adding
guys.
to
I can't. As the mixer, I can't. I can confirm, not feasible.
The mixer. He mixes maze.
Maze, baby.
You know what? We were going to have a really intricate topic today about older anime, but now I kind of just want to talk about food.
You just want to have a topic about Japanese food?
Could we just talk about food?
I mean, I'm so down.
We can just share stories about eating food, and we can save this topic for next time. Trust me, guys, it's real good. But it also give us time to think about it, because I feel like it's a topic that deserves thought. You know what doesn't deserve thought? What your freaking tummy wants. You just know.
Oh, yes.
You just know.
Cass, you want to know what I want right now? After this podcast, I want Brenner.
I will make us Brenner.
What is that breakfast dinner?
Yeah.
We bought a waffle iron.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because we destroyed our other one.
Yeah, we're
they
trying,
got one
guys.
use out of it. We
We're
don't
trying.
know how to adult.
Oh, yeah, no.
We got bacon, though. We got bacon. We got waffles, eggs. So I'll make that, and that'll be my one big meal of the week because I'm on a diet, which means this topic's going to be hell. Let's do this.
Okay. John, what else was in your Japan bento box?
One thing that is actually sitting right next to me and is one of the most interesting things I've gotten from the Taste Japan is a monthly subscription box available in the UK. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure there's going to be an American equivalent that you can go with, but
I'm gonna Google it.
One of the most interesting things I've ever gotten from it is creamy cheese chocolate.
What?
And when I mentioned it to my parents, it was like, no, it must be like a cheesecake kind of chocolate. And I was like, oh yeah, probably that. And then I actually opened the packet, and the smell of cheese was so strong. But then I pulled it out and bit into it, and it was like, no, it is white chocolate cubes with a hint of cheese. It's just a very, very, very strong smell of cheese that comes with them.
Huh.
And they are so
Fascinating.
weird, but quite nice. I find them quite nice.
There are some interesting flavor palettes that I think you find in Japanese food or snacks. One interesting one that I found when I ordered some snacks off of JList.com, I got these, I think they're called kalbi, like potato sticks. And they are flavored, they look kind of like McDonald's French fries, but they're like crunchy. And one of the flavors that they had was soy sauce and butter. And let me just tell you, that actually tastes really good together. Because it's both like kind of a savory flavor combined, and I really liked it.
It does sound tasty. I love butter and I love soy sauce.
Right?
I had something that was soy sauce and butter. I can't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head now. But yeah, soy sauce and butter. It sounds weird, but it's actually really, really bloody nice. And yeah,
but yeah, cheese and chocolate, huh? Okay,
that's an odd combination.
And yeah, it's just wow. I
guess if it's like a milder cheese and maybe cheese.
It does taste more like white chocolate than it does cheese. There is just like a hint, a bit of a hint of cheese. It's just the smell of cheese is so strong for some reason.
Were you gonna say something, Craig?
No, I just said it sounds like an interesting combination, if anything.
Have you had any weird or fun experiences with Japanese food in recent memory? Or not recent memory, either or.
Okay, so outside of going to Sushi Maki and really just kind of jamming with spicy ramen, I went and, because in the downtown Portland area, you can find all sorts of like Asian restaurants and whatnot. So at one point I was going downtown with coworkers of mine, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a pork cutlet bowl, and this is before Yuri on Ice was a real, like, took off and skyrocketed into the stratosphere. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna embrace it because it's got a shit ton of rice, it's got veggies, it's got that pork, it's got that meat. Lo and behold, little did I know, there was wasabi hidden as a surprise within the bowl. Craig,
wow,
did not know this, and dug in, ate a glob of wasabi, thought I was gonna die that night. Fortunately, I ingested so much water to curb this dying feeling. But you know what? My nasal passages were quite clear, and I realized I had a battle with death, and death walked out the door. I was able to manage, and I came out stronger. Don't eat wasabi, kids. Not worth it.
You should get melon pan for your reward.
Oh my fucking god, I love melon pan. Speaking of wasabi, I do have a funny wasabi story.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure I've told this before to most people, but when I was in high school, I was quite naive. Way more naive than I am currently. I'm much more worldly at this moment. But back then, I would do basically anything people told me to do, and I believed everything people said, including my best friend, Taryn. And Taryn walked up to me with these little green balls and was like, this is new candy. You want to try it?
Oh,
no. I was just like, yeah, sure, I'd love to. And I went to like grab all of them because I thought she was offering. She said, just try one.
Okay.
And we'll see if you like it. If you like the rest, I'll give them to you. And I was like, okay, you're being awfully cautious about candy, but sure. And I ate this tiny little pea, this wasabi pea thing. And oh my god, my sinuses were clear for days.
Yeah, they were.
But I cried. It was pretty terrible. I was not expecting that.
Oof. I'm really glad she at least had the foresight to be like, no, just a teeny bit.
I want to break you, but not completely.
No, not yet.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I get that sneak. I like sushi a lot myself, and at certain places, I tend to like the kind that's just the cut of fish and then the bed of rice on the bottom. And
Mhm.
sometimes I'll bite into that, and certain restaurants like to do it with a dab of wasabi, and then I'm just like, oh no, they put the wasabi in.
Yep.
But definitely not. I've never had a straight exposure to wasabi, and
You spare yourself the pain.
I feel like you two are older and wiser for it.
I mean, that happened when I was in high school, so not really. But for a happier story, I am on a diet, so I've been looking for healthier options for like snacks and stuff.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I picked up at Winco a couple of days ago was just seaweed, like little slabs of seaweed. Fucking delicious.
Oh, I'm glad you like those.
So good. I'm probably going to go and buy some later this week. If not tonight, maybe I'll go over there. Winco's right there. I'll go. They're $1. They're $1.
$1?
That's cool that Winco has them too.
Yeah, they've got like a little Asian, they call it like the Asian food section. It's right at the end of like the quote unquote Hispanic food section.
Mhm.
And you can just go in there and they've got, I mean, it's not really big. It's a freaking Winco, but they've got like ramen and pocky, and then they've got rice, and then they've got little sheets of seaweed. And you can buy them, and you can eat them. And I asked Craig if he wanted some, and he said no. And then I gave some to Zach, and he died, and it was funny.
Yeah, see, I knew what I've had seaweed before, dried seaweed. It's very okay. It's salty, but it doesn't really have a flavor. Just watching Zach's guttural reaction to it, it's just like his face morphed, and he's like, no. I'm just like, I'll take it or leave it.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, this is fucking delicious.
I've never had it just as is, but I've had it at Tokonatsu. They they've been doing noodle lunches there, and one of the things that you can have added to your bowl of noodles is a sheet of dried seaweed, and I've had it added there, and I've quite enjoyed it. It's just extra flavor.
I think it does blend really well into things like ramen and udon.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Good
I do
for
like
soups.
it there. Yeah.
Yeah. I love food.
Yes.
Ice
I
cream
love-
mochi. Who's had ice cream mochi?
Yes. It's
Can
good.
we get ice cream mochi?
I don't have any of that.
I haven't. I would like to try it.
Oh, it's so good.
I've had
I wanna
mochi,
get-
but not ice cream mochi.
I want to get ice cream mochi now. See,
It's good.
This is the problem with this topic. It's going to make me hungry, and
You're
I'm
not
even
even the
more
one on a
hungry.
diet.
Yeah.
Going back to my Taste Japan box, I completely forgot one of the things that came in it was a pack of Kamen Rider gummies. And
Nice.
Oh.
Oh man.
And I'm like, Bandai, just you and your molding process. You think of gummies and you don't think of like the most detailed molding on a gummy,
Right.
but no, these gummies, you can clearly see Kamen Rider, I think it's Gaim? The game themed one?
Yeah. Oh, no, that's X-Aid you're thinking of.
X-Aid, yeah, it's clearly X-Aid. And his weapons and like shining it up to the light, you can see all the detail in
Nice.
him.
Wow.
And it's just like, wow, Bandai. And these things actually come like still in the tray. Admittedly you only get 4 gummies, but like the one of X8 himself is actually quite tall.
That's interesting. They would make the sizes different based on like the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one's X8 himself, one is like a coin. Then you had one which was his sword, and then it's like the actual cartridge thing that he puts in his belt. So it wasn't like 4 different characters, it was 4 things to do with X8 himself. But,
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, each of them ended up being a different size. but they were all incredibly detailed with the molding, and I looked on the package and I saw Bandai decal logo on it. And I was like, okay, of course it's Bandai, but man, I think there was more detail on it than some of my Gundam kits.
That's pretty wild. Probably just because the franchise is so big, I think,
Mm.
that they're willing to just go full ham. Another Japanese food like snack that I don't know if any of you have tried that I really want to try is the taiyaki, like the fish,
Yes.
the fish cakes with filling in it.
I've wanted to try that ever since I watched the original version of Canon.
Oh, there you go. Of
I
course.
wonder why I've eaten it ever since the good version of Canon.
I would say
Well,
that
the 2006 version of Canon did make me want to have it even more, but there.
Well, because then it was animated like beautifully.
Yeah. I even made it look even more delicious when she bit into it and stole it back.
I mean, I can't
But
blame
man-
you. I mean, I grew up watching Shakugan no Shana, and so I always wanted to eat melon pan. And so when I finally ate melon pan, I was like, this is fucking delightful.
Melon pan
That's
was
awesome.
one of those things I was like, you make it look so tasty, but it's melon, and I'm probably not going to like it because I hate melon. And then,
John, have you ever tried it?
yeah, Cassie shoved a melon
okay,
pan in
yeah.
my hands when I was at NDK and was like, try this. And I was like, I'll have a bite and see what I think. I'm probably not going to like it. But I actually ended up really liking it. I was like, what is this madness? Japan, why do you make me like things that I normally don't like?
I think
Good
before trying melon pan, I literally Googled and I was like, does melon pan taste like melon? And they're like, no, it's usually just because of the way that it's shaped. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh! And it's
Ah.
got kind of just a sweet, like, cookie topping sort of thing, is how they described it. I also really like ones that have chocolate chips in them.
Never had that.
Yeah, and not my style per se, but like Get really likes things that are green tea flavored, and you can even get like green tea, like matcha flavored ones. Like I'm sure there's a ton of them. So it's all just up to exploring.
I want to go to Japan and eat a shit ton of food.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I just-
One day.
You know, I know it's not. It's food related. It's just more sweet. But Cass and her boyfriend are watching this show, and I've finished watching this with Suki. Kira Kira Precure la mode. Every episode makes me want to like die of a sugar overdose because holy shit, man, those things look delightful.
Talking about a cute cooking anime, that one's pretty adorable. They teach you how to make the because the whole point of Kira Kira Precure is like they fight with, I don't know how to describe it. They become kind of like a specialty in a sweet.
Yep.
So like the main girl is like a strawberry shortcake or whatever, and you've got like a pudding, and you've like brulee kind of thing, and you've got like macaroons. And at the end of each episode, when each girl gets their magical powers, they show you how they made the little treat that they made in that episode. And it's like, oh, this is cute.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I really want to check that one out now.
It's pretty cute. It's pretty derpy. It's probably the most derpy Precure I've watched, but I like that they have little recipes at the end. It's cute.
Yes.
Speaking of anime with cooking that makes you hungry when you watch it, Yuru Camp
Yeah.
and Dinner Time with the Emiya Family. Is it?
Oh
Or
my
Mealtime with the Emiya
god!
Family. Watching either of those, I'm just like, I'm really hungry now, and I want to give this a try. But
Yep.
I can't eat it now because I don't have it. So what is the closest equivalent I have to something like this that I can have?
Yeah, there was an episode of Yuru Camp where they were so fixated on getting meat, on getting that niku, all of the good niku, and I was like, the whole time I was just like, where is the closest Korean barbecue place so I can just get slabs of niku and cook them and eat them with rice, please? Like, I just was very obsessed. And I think another one that Yuru Camp did, they did like a pasta that had like milk and cheese in it, and it like sounded interesting. And I really, really, really want to try to make that one. I think the only thing I was going to omit was mushrooms because I don't like mushrooms.
I can get that.
But yeah, I will keep you guys posted if I actually make that one.
Cammy's going to become the cook of this podcast.
Let me make a Yudu Camp
Ooh.
cookbook. That would be so fun.
Yes, yes.
I would read it.
I'd read it. I'd use all the recipes.
Yeah.
And then I'd make you come over and make them the right way.
I can totally send you the recipe we did for the curry ramen because that was so good.
Yeah.
Was that spicy?
No, yeah, you just get a mild curry cube, and I am just as much a spice wuss as you. And trust me, it is
Yes,
good,
it is.
and it is good and savory, and then just the way the ramen noodles soak that up, and it was super good.
Curry. That's another really, like when I went to
Oh.
China, not Japan, when I went to China, the two things that I ate all the freaking time
Mm.
was, well, one, dumplings and and meat buns. Those were my thing.
Mm.
But the other things that I frequented the most was curry, because they made a really mean curry. And they also made this, the rice balls that had like
Ooh.
salmon in the middle. Oh, so good.
Oh, those would be so good. Oh man, that's so good.
Nice.
Ever since I left, there's two things I crave the most, because I can get meat buns almost everywhere, and I could get curry, but like a good onigiri is so hard to come by, and I don't think they call that in China. I can't even remember what the Chinese word for a rice ball is. I'm a bad Chinese student. But they also had like an eggplant, eggplant and meat dish. That was so fucking good. Oh my god. Oh, I want to go back to China just for those two things, and then I'll leave.
Just get in and get out.
That's so good.
Oh, good.
Was it something else I had at when I was in America?
Wendy's.
No, it was Japanese.
Mm.
The grill thing.
Hibachi grill.
Hibachi. That's it.
That's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
dinner
I
to
can't-
show, baby. That's awesome.
Anytime I end up thinking about Japanese foods, I keep remembering that, and I'm like, I really want some now.
It's good food. Good portions too. Good leftovers.
That was very, very filling. And like, I started eating before they finished cooking mine. Like they finished the rice, and I was like, I'm just gonna scoop up some, and I felt so bad, but I was like, it smells so nice. I want some now.
Yep, it's there and just like wafting into your nostrils. Now I feel you. And then you just have to have a little bit of it.
Oh, jeez.
You know what also tastes delicious?
Mm.
The sweet, sweet taste of nostalgia.
Yeah, that segue. Look at that.
Ah, yeah.
I like it.
So, we've been talking about this for a bit, so I figured I'd wrap it up. But if you have some food or some good experiences with food that you'd like to tell us about and have us read about or even discuss some more, shoot us an email. But for now, the sweet, sweet taste of nostalgia, because it was my turn to pick an anime to, make at least one person here succumb to and experience something new. And I believe Craig was the only person here who had not seen it before.
Yeah.
And that is Princess Tutu. I love this anime. So that was my host choice for this month, and we are going to be discussing it. But before we do, I'm going to go and pull up the information about it because I forgot to do so because I'm a bad person.
Can I say something real quick, just offhand about the show?
Yes.
Fun fact: the director, trivia here. Fun fact: Junichi Sato is the director of this show. You may know him as the director of Sailor Moon and Sailor Moon R. He also assisted in a whole bunch of other shows, such as Neon Genesis Evangelion and Cass. Guess what? He's the director of Hokuto Precure.
Oh my god. Perfection.
Ooh, okay, well now I have to get in on that.
I think it was mentioned in that video you sent me before, but I'm actually remembering that now. And yeah, that would explain a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things that I love about Hokuto Precure you can find, sprinkled throughout Princess Tutu, now that I think about it. So, that is good. This is good. But before we go ahead and talk about more of our feelings, I figured I'd give a general overview for anybody who's listening who knows nothing about Princess Tutu, and if not, shame on you. But it is a pretty long series. It's listing 38 episodes, but I thought it was like 20-something.
I thought it was 26.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
26.
my brain. I was about to say, maybe it's just OVAs. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure I didn't watch 38 episodes. But the point is, it's a 2-core anime, so it's a bit of a sit-down. But that's because it's got a pretty interesting story, which I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis for. In a fairy tale come to life, the clumsy, sweet, and gentle Ahiru, Japanese for duck, seems like an unlikely protagonist. In reality, Ahiru is just as magical as the talking cats and crocodiles that inhabit her town. For Ahiru really is a duck. Transformed by the mysterious Drosselmeyer into a human girl, Ahiru soon learns the reason for her existence. Using her magical egg-shaped pendant, Ahiru can transform into Princess Tutu, a beautiful and talented ballet dancer whose dances relieve people of turmoil in their hearts. With her newfound ability, Ahiru accepts the challenge of collecting the lost shards of her prince's heart. For long ago, he had shattered it in order to seal an evil raven away for all eternity. Princess Tutu is a tale of heroes and their struggle against fate. Their beliefs, their feelings, and ultimately their actions will determine whether this fairy tale can reach its happily ever after. Gotta say, that's a pretty dang good My Anime List synopsis.
That is really
Yeah.
spot on. Kudos to them.
It's actually a good one.
Yeah, I like it.
No. I'm impressed. The studio behind this is Howl Filmmaker,
Okay.
which has also done things such as Begot to HK, Audia, The Origination, a bunch of stuff that I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks like they did a little bit of work on one of the Deers seasons. Slayers.
Woo!
That's
So
yeah.
they've dipped their toes in a lot of stuff. But I'd say that Princess Tutu is probably the most notable out of this list that I'm seeing. A few of the other ones I've seen around. Oh, they also did that one show, the Battle Angel one, Dokudo-chan.
Beat the
The
Death
girl
Angel.
who, like, beats
Doc.
people's
Yeah.
heads in.
Yep.
But yeah, this is definitely the one that stands out the most to me in their list of credits. And I think arguably there's a big reason for that, and that's that Princess Tutu is freaking phenomenal, and we're going to talk about why. Dun dun dun. So that aside, what did you guys think of the story of Princess Tutu? To start us off, I wanted to pick this particular show because I think it does something really interesting, especially with the magical girl formula, where you start out with your typical, monster of the week kind of feeling that you think you're going to get from any kind of magical girl show. And very slowly things start to change over time, and the, differences between what's fantasy, what's reality, and what exactly everyone's goals are starts to very slowly change. And I think that was something that the story did really well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys
Oh,
think?
yeah. I get so bummed when I've had people that say that they watched, and I mean, again, whatever, like, especially in this age of, 3-episode rule, but I get so bummed when people have given the show maybe, 5 episodes, and they're like, I just don't like this formula, I'm tired of it, and I'm just sitting there oh, please, no, keep going, give it a chance, because like you said, I think that it magnificently starts to, transform into something else, and the story really grows.
Well,
yeah.
As someone who binged all of it over the course of Christmas break / early 2018, I actually welcomed, and I've now fully succumbed to Magical Girl Monster of the Week hell, where I'm like,
Oh, yes.
hey, episode of the week, it's fun to actually just kind of see, how they're able to beat the bad or grow as characters, or, in this case, gather the heart shards of the Prince Muto, and how Princess Tutu essentially helps random character of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cute for what it was, and then, as Cass said, it gradually builds something in the background, and then in the second half of the show, that's when stuff really picks up. I know, for example, friend of the show Pete on Sever Progress, he said he dropped the show as well. Maybe the episodic nature got to him, but I mean, I told him that as someone who watched it, it's fun for what it is. So.
Well, it's not even just fun. It's very dramatic. It's got a lot of very integral plot pieces and a lot of themes that are very dark and adult, but you don't get to them until the second half. And I think that's important.
Yeah.
The show isn't like, for example, the first thing that popped into my head, like Madoka Magica, which had a change in tone by episode 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, Cammie had a really good point that, a lot of the times the 3-episode rule does come into play with a lot of people in this day and age because there's just so much anime to consume.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually a firm believer of the 3-episode rule. If something hasn't caught my attention by the 3rd episode and it's basically been advertised that that's all it's going to be, then why would I keep watching it?
For sure.
And that can apply to a lot of shows. Like, for example, if I don't like the humor of Pop Team Epic, for example,
right,
why would I keep watching it? I had a conversation today with somebody actually also about a different show, like the Sakamoto-kun show. My Name is Sakamoto.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't really like this show because I didn't like the humor, but there's tons of people who freaking love it.
Yeah.
We went to the Free movie last night, and I thought it was a huge waste of my time, but I know a lot of people who thought it was great.
Yeah.
Different people are going to like different things, and that's fine, but I think it's really just a tragedy with a show like this that does change over time, that you should probably listen to people recommending it to you to get to those different parts.
For sure.
And as somebody who believes in the 3rd-episode rule, I've violated that myself a couple of times. For example, I thought Kokoro Connect was super freaking boring.
Oh, it's slow at start.
And a friend of mine was like, Cassie, just get to episode 5, and if you don't like it by then drop it. And I'm like, you know what, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Got to episode 5, and I've rewatched Kokoro Connect 4 times, so.
Yeah. I think a good thing with Princess Tutu, like, from people that I know, a lot of people have given it another chance just because, like, again, individual people will approach them and really, like, wholeheartedly, earnestly be like, this show was really good, meant a lot to me for XYZ reasons. I convinced an ex in the past and a good guy friend of mine in the past few years to give the show a shot, and they both ended up loving it. Reason that Get is clearly the one is that when we started dating, I said, have you seen Princess Tutu? He goes, here's my box set.
Sold.
So, let me
just
also
like,
say that
real
men watch Princess Tutu.
Yeah?
I'm just gonna say that.
They do.
I first watched this when I was at university, and I mentioned this guy before. He's the same guy that got me watching Loveless and Gravitation. He actually convinced me to watch this by showing me an AMV.
Oh, there it is.
I can see
yes.
it.
Hola, Meg.
Yeah,
Yes.
So therefore I already had that promise of there's some really dark stuff that happens and really awesome combat that happens later on in the series. So he was like, I can convince you to watch this series about pretty ballerinas dancing by showing you this first. And sure enough, I enjoyed every moment of Princess Tutu. Like, even if at first I was like, okay, get to the battle stuff, but then eventually I was like, no, I'm actually quite enjoying the ballerina stuff.
Yeah, right?
But that being said, it was over a decade ago that I watched it, so rewatching it now, I'm like, I forgot so much, and this was a complete rediscovery of the series for me, so
That's good.
I'm really glad
The
I
show
did
has a
decide
lot
to
of rewatch value.
Yeah.
Well, because you can unpack so many different things every time you watch it, because arguably, and this could probably transfer us to characters, it's a story of self-discovery and figuring out who you are and what you want to be. And it also really goes into different kind of themes of hope. And I think that that's very important for people of all ages, which is pretty cool. I wouldn't say I'd sit, a 10-year-old down and watch this because it's going to go right over their head, and there are some scary things. But for early teens and up, I feel like there's a lot to unpack here, and a lot to unpack in the characters who make it up. Who's your favorite character, guys?
A certain cat that is a damn good instructor, but damn it, is he thirsty to get married every chance he gets. A little odd that he wants to marry his students that are clearly, like, I would imagine that they're in junior high. Oh, but you know what? We're just gonna ignore that. But at the same time, he's a lovely individual. Mr. Cat, yeah, and he freaks out and has cold sweats a lot too.
Just briefly backtracking on that, can we also mention how fun the world is, where it's like at the school, it's human and animal students. Like,
Yes.
they did a lot of funny puns and stuff, like with a goat and the alligator. I don't know. There was just a lot, and they were always really fun.
No context to this reference here, but like there was a bit where they're just like, "Who's that Princess Tutu?" And it's a crocodile, and then like clearly it's her, and I'm just like, this is great. There's also an anteater that gets a spotlight episode. I'm just like, hey, that's cool.
I also really like something that you think is almost like just a gimmick to the world actually becomes something so much more interesting later on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like there's so much constant world building going on from just the littlest, tiniest things
Yeah.
that you don't even think about. You're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's a show, and there are animals in it, and people, and it seems very fairy tale-esque, but that's just the theme. It's just the setting. I mean, we don't have to think too much about it.
No,
And then
it's-
later on, you're like, oh,
You're like, oh,
Yes.
I see what you did there, Princess Tutu, and I'm emotionally compromised.
Yeah.
I'll say
Yeah.
I'll say this outside of Mr. Cat, just before I'll let one of you guys take it. Initially I thought Fakir I didn't get the hype and the love behind the guy, but by the end of it I was like, holy shit, I really get you.
I love Fakir.
Tutu or
Mhm.
Duck sold on episode 1. Muto, I was just like, I don't really get you, man. You're kind of a blank. You're like the canvas in which you have to be painted. But again, it all makes sense in the end.
Yeah, I've put Fakir as my favorite character in the series, and it's actually more because of how he grew on me. Because when I first started watching it, I was like, man, this guy's such a fucking asshole. Why is anyone staying with this guy?
He's angry.
He's angry. He's trapping Yuko. He's not a good guy. He's not a good guy. And then you learn about his motives. And okay, he's not as bad a guy as I thought. And he really grows as a character. Like,
oh, for sure.
and to say he's of the 4 main characters, Fakir, Yuto,
Duck,
and Rue, all 4 of them grow and develop as characters as the series develops, and
for sure,
that is a really good thing. It would be really bad if like I've watched so many other series where like, oh, there's a nice cast of characters, and most of them have some character development, but then this one character just does nothing throughout the entire series. It just doesn't change.
For sure, right?
And there are some series where like only one of the characters seems to actually gain development, or none of them have any development, and you're like, but why?
Tutu did a good job of like diversifying the screen time and character development between all 4 people.
Yeah, it mostly focuses on a hero, aka Duck.
Yep.
But yeah, it does give enough time to the other 3 main characters, and you really learn what makes them tick, or you see them grow and develop as characters, and even Muto, who, like as Greg said, is a blank canvas of a character that has to be filled in, and that is initially the whole plot of the series. Even he actually, compared to like how they had been describing what he was really supposed to be like, even he ends up different to that description in the end. And I thought that was really good. But yeah, so Fakir really grew on me, and I think that made him one of my favorite characters in the series.
Nice.
Cammy,
Nice.
Who is your favorite character?
Without a doubt, I call her Ahiru because I watched the show subbed first, but yes, Ahiru or Duck.
Yeah.
I just, it's funny because I appreciated her and liked her from the start. And I first watched the show when I was pretty young. I was maybe like 13 or 14. But even again, rewatch value, like as I grow, I just appreciate, she represents so many things that I can either relate to or really, really aspire to. I do think that like she has kind of a quality that's double-sided. I think where she is naive, which can be bad on one coin, but also something that she really represents to me that I just love so much is that she will never fail to see the good in a person.
I love that.
Or like the potential of the good in a person. And she's very forgiving. She wants to help people, and it's just beautiful. And I adore every iteration of her. Her character development and journey as a person, and the fact that it is motivated to, often a lot of her development is motivated through wanting to help others and like seeing how they help her. I just find her really, really beautiful and a character that I relate to and also aspire to be in certain ways. And there's a scene that she has in episode 13, before the second, and it's like literally will make me like cry and shake every time I see it. Just so good.
I remember talking to you about that when we hung out last.
Yeah, quack.
Cassie's like a very good she's a good running motif of self-sacrifice.
Oh, she is. She's a good girl.
And, well, it's not even just about her being a good girl. I think self-sacrifice is something that's represented in a lot of the characters.
Oh, for sure, right?
But she's a consistent literal running theme in the form of a beautiful young lady. So I also I appreciate most of the characters. Rue ended up being my favorite. Mostly because I have a soft heart for an anti-hero. And she's a very good example, without going into spoilers, of somebody who does the wrong things for what she believes to be the best thing for her. And eventually, when she realizes what exactly is going on and how, she's not really her own self or her own person, she also, starts falling into that theme or running motif of self-sacrifice. Specifically towards the end, and with a couple scenes towards the end. And I really loved her for that. She grew as a person. And when you figure out what all of her motivations really, really are deep down, I feel like it's a lot of things that young girls struggle with. Let alone, young girls who didn't lose most of their family and don't know who their parents are, completely abandoned. But, hey, whatever. We're not going to go all into Rue's book story. The point of the matter is, but I feel like a lot of the things that she goes through and experiences made her make decisions. And I like using her as like a foil character to
Tutu
or Ahiro.
Yeah.
Because they both of them went through different hardships and then just chose to deal with them in different ways. And in the end, I feel like they were able to come together and see eye to eye on that without going too much into spoilers. And I love that so fucking much. But that's just the thing that I love so much about the characters in the story of Princess Tutu, is everything's just so intertwined and everybody's just such a good foil to everybody else, especially with the main four.
Yeah, everybody's connections in the main four are like really deep and tangible, and like you get a sense of it.
Yeah.
Which I really, really love. And I love all of them, honestly. It's like fight to the death for each of them.
One other thing about Rue that I particularly love was I think when I first watched it, I hadn't quite latched onto the voice actress Nana Mizuki at the time, but rewatching it was like, oh yeah, it's Nana Mizuki, same voice actress behind Fate Testarossa from Nanoha, who also
John,
has a... I have.
You have a giant ass crush on this woman.
I do.
It's okay. She's in Heartcatch as well. You should go back and finish that show.
I do need to go back and finish Heartcatch. So hey, she doesn't play a dark character in Heartcatch, but
nope.
Fate also is a bit of an anti-hero to start with a big turnaround, and she plays that role. Nana Mizuki plays that role really well, I feel.
Yeah. I just love all of them a lot.
Yeah, they're all very good. And another thing that's good to point out is there's a lot of fantastic side characters that either add to the plot, literally add to the plot, like Miss Ladle, I believe her name was.
Is it Adel? Adel or
Ladle?
Yeah.
Something like that. Like she becomes an integral member of the plot, but she's there at first you think just to be, like a plot convenience, move, give Duck a reason to do something or go somewhere, but she has more of a, a point later on.
Yep.
And then you've just got characters that you're not know why they're there, but you're just so happy they are. What was his name? The over-exaggerant...
Femio?
There we go.
Oh, the extra guy. Can we just give shout outs to Duck's get hype squad?
Friend.
Yeah.
Liddy
Her
and Pink.
friends.
Her friends.
Oh, they're great.
Liddy and Pink. I was
PK
just
and
I was
Yep.
about to mention them. They're great.
Squad goals.
Yep.
Liddy just wants to see Duck fail so she can bring her up again. It's like, you're a terrible friend, but you're there for her every single step of the way as well. So
They're also the greatest of wing women because they're like, yo, we know you have the hots for X, Y, and Z. Let's totally get you with them. And I'm like, damn.
yeah, go
I
get
like
him.
this. I
Are
like
you
this.
sure
This
this
is
is
cool.
good idea? Well, I can comfort her when she gets rejected. Fuck's sake.
Right.
Liddy.
Arguably the least developed or least interesting characters most of the time, in my personal opinion, are in the beginning arc and also towards there's another arc in the end, like the Black Ravenish arc, where you've got the one-off monster of the week characters, or people who are suffering.
Yeah.
And even then I felt touched by most of their stories, but they're the ones that I didn't care as much about.
I can get that.
But I can forgive that because they're building up to an overall story and they served their purpose. Like there was never a character in this show that I was like, wow, we didn't need this person. We didn't need this anteater.
Yeah.
Oh, Andy.
There were even just moments with characters that I didn't expect to feel anything, but a certain moment, like the woman who cared for the restaurant and why
yeah.
she kept it up so much. Ooh, that just hit.
That was rough.
So yeah, those moments were so good, just out of nowhere.
Even Edoru and Uzura.
Yep.
And some moments with those characters got me teary-eyed. And just there are a lot of good characters in this series.
You know what else is really nice about the characters, though, is that they have pretty great designs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that segue.
They
Following your trend, dear.
Oh.
Damn, girl. Damn.
But yeah, for real though, honestly, I think that all of the characters look really unique, but also very charming. You get a sense of who they are immediately. Rue is presented in the beginning as this graceful, prima, beautiful, and she's beautiful.
Bella.
I love her character design. I love her her wine red tutu and her hair that's up in a bun when she dances. The even just Ahiru's hair design is very plucky and is remnant of a tail or tail feather. Just things like that. Fakir and Muto in their expressions and hair design. It just comes together really well, I think, personally.
It's interesting because Fakir has a sharp design to his face because he's always stern and Muto's always so soft spoken. So his face is always this kind of
he's got them big moe eyes.
Oh, he's got the moe eyes for days. He's a soft spoken precious boy. He's a precious son. You got to protect him. Protect.
One thing that I like that you said, Cammy, is that the style is unique, and that's because it is. I can't think of anything else that looks like this show.
Nope.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that's just not with characters. Their backgrounds, their the way gears are used in the show.
Yeah.
The pretty watercolor background. Yeah, the pretty watercolor backgrounds at the school too. It just, it's all so good.
they went with that fairy tale motif and they ran with it, and
Yes.
I love that because it's also reflected also in the character designs.
Yep.
But there's just so much that if I ever wanted to make a crossover AMV with Princess Tutu, could never do it because
No.
nothing else looks like it.
No.
No.
Yeah, good luck, Chuck. That would be really tough.
They're so unique too, and like, so even watching it just late last year, earlier this year, I'm like, holy crap, this show stands out from a character design standpoint. Not only that, but the way it moves, the way it's fluid, it doesn't look dated. It
And-
just like you could watch this now and be like, man, was this released in like 2015, 2016 or something like that? Because it looks and it feels like it could have came out in recent times. It's that good.
And another word that we like to throw around, consistency.
Yep.
I think the animation
Oh,
quality and art is consistent throughout.
It's fluid too.
I'd agree.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of stock footage that they use. Like you'll see the same transformations for Duck from Duck to human and from human to Princess Tutu.
Yeah.
You'll see those. Well, you'll see the Princess Tutu episode transformation pretty much every episode, and you'll see the human to duck, the duck to human rather transformation almost every time
Occasionally.
she turns into a duck, but there's a couple of times you don't see it. But
Oh my god, can we also talk about attention to detail in the ballet movements?
yes,
that
So-
needs to be touched on.
Fluid.
Amazing.
they definitely.
I actually,
I don't know anything about ballet. I will throw it out, but I can tell the attention to detail and like they did their research for like all the different ballet moves and the stories that those different
I'm with
moves
them.
tell.
Kaz, you're gonna say something?
well, I was gonna say to go off of, I guess now what John was saying. I actually have a friend who is a ballet dancer.
Oh,
And
nice.
she, I lended this anime to her years ago, and she loved the hell out of it because of how accurate a lot of the references to actual ballet performances there are.
Mm-hmm.
So I just throw that. I mean, I don't know anything about ballet to save my life. But a friend of mine does, obviously, and this is one of her favorite animes because of that.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
That is
It's
really
kind of like how pro ice skaters were like so freaking like blown away by Yuri on Ice kind of deal.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many other ballet dancers were blown away by Princess Tutu, but at least friends of mine who've taken up dance or ballet specifically are pretty impressed by it.
Hmm.
And also, going back to the stock footage, like, they do have it almost every episode, but they do keep it minimum.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I also appreciated. You're going to have magical girl transformations in a magical girl show.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But occasionally you'll have little changes, or it's very kept to a minimum, and her transformation is actually relatively short.
Yeah.
In comparison
Yeah.
to
Magical
Magical
Girl
Girl
transformation.
Yep.
And what the point I was actually trying to get at with that is that I really didn't mind it. Like there are some anime I've watched that have had stock animation, and I'm like, this scene again and again. But in Princess Tutu, like I really didn't mind, and some of them I was like, here we go, here it comes, and I just really enjoyed watching this. Even the second time through, I just really enjoyed watching it. There was also certain details that, because I watched the Blu-ray version of this one this time through, and I'm like, was that detail there before?
You could always go back and look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't believe I never noticed that the sword is two swans at the hilt of it. I was like,
It's symbolic.
So much symbolism in this show. It's literally oozing symbolism and themes. way more than we can talk about on this actual episode.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we will some other time.
Yo, while we're talking on production, I just want to give a shout out, and you all can use this as a way to jump forward or keep talking what you're talking about. I just want to say, the unsung hero of this entire show, the music. I don't know who got the rights for all the music, and again, I don't know jack about ballet, Swan Lake, Ugly Duckling, like those tales and the plays and dances that are centered around them. Holy crap.
The good
Amazing.
news is that a lot of like stuff that's used for older songs is free rights, because after a person's been dead for so long, you can use their music. Fun fact. So that's why people can use Beethoven music in a YouTube video.
Public domain.
Because he doesn't exactly. He doesn't have rights to it anymore because he's been dead for a gajillion years. And the same is true for a lot of things. I believe Swan Lake is one of them.
Yep.
But that's probably why they were able to go so all out on the music.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And I could argue that for things like Your Lie in April and stuff as well.
Oh, right.
That's true.
Yeah.
As someone who was like super like into ballet as a kid, like I took classes and I would always go see the Nutcracker, and I had picture books about ballet stories, whatever. When I heard like my favorite tracks from the Nutcracker show up in Princess Tutu, I was just like, oh my god, this is awesome.
Nice.
And the show did a really good job at having the peak moments of like the episode, those just pinnacle scenes hit right with the classical pieces. Just like phenomenally done. So many moments are just like orchestrated so well together between the animation of what's going on and the song.
It is really good when you've got like they've decided on, we're going to use this song for this episode, and we're going to time the pacing of this scene with this song, and it really shows. And this is a fine example of them actually like paying attention to the soundtrack that they've got to really like effectively have the music, the natural timing of the music, help the impact of the scene. And sell the scene and what's going on to you. And
yeah, and so many episodes were just framed around like titles and motifs from ballets, because you had like the Romeo and Juliet episode where they played Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet. There's a plot thread, I mean, this one, episode 13 and Swan Lake, the very similar motifs in playing the music. It's just awesome. There's a lot of care, you can clearly tell, for the art that is put in the show.
Whenever Duck says, would you like to dance with me? Or come dance with me, I'm like, it is on.
Nice.
And so many so many of the ballet gestures that like I wouldn't like, as not someone who's never paid any attention to ballet, that like this series teaches you the meanings of, and eventually like
Poise
and
yeah,
the mindful I love you. Like you're like, if you watch this series, you will know the mindful I love you, the ballet mind, because they show that one quite a bit. But
yeah, what about voice acting though? What do we think?
This is actually something that would be kind of fun for us to discuss, because I actually have only ever watched Princess Tutu in dub.
same.
Ooh.
Ever. Granted, I think that the dub is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
It's an older dub too, so it's just kind of like, that's probably hit or miss. But actually, it's pretty dang good.
I agree wholeheartly.
I want to go back and watch it in Japanese at some point, and considering my boyfriend is a purist and only ever wants to watch things in Japanese, I'll probably get that opportunity in the near future. Yeah. Well, I mean, he wants to use it to study his Japanese too. I'm kind of that way too now. Like, if I were to watch Princess Tutu now, and it would have been my first viewing of it, I probably would have preferred to watch it in Japanese as well. Just because my tastes from back then have differed. When I was in high school, I grabbed every dub I could get my hands on because I found it to be more convenient than reading subs.
Yeah.
But no, I think that the voice acting, at least in that particular version, was really, 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 really good. One of the better dubs I've ever seen.
Rock solid.
Oh yeah, especially for its time, like when it came out. I can also briefly say, in regards to Duck Ahiru's voice, both of the performances sound really similar to each other.
Nice.
Which I'm so impressed with on Lucy Christian's on Lucy Christian's behalf. She really, if she did look at, and I'm sure she did, take some influence from the original Japanese voice actress, it was just spot on.
And then Chris Patton, right? That's
it's
Fakir.
Fakir.
Yeah.
The emotion.
I have the biggest lady boner for Chris.
You do. And as soon as I heard him, like, he's such an angry, angsty boy. It fits him so good.
Oh God, Fakir is just so good, and one of his voices, his voice is one of the many attributes that just makes me swoon.
Yes,
yes. God, yes.
I feel like I probably should have watched it dubbed this time since I watched it subbed both times now. I feel I should rewatch it dubbed and get a feel of it.
Don't beat yourself up too much, because I've rewatched Princess Tutu at this point probably like 6 or 7 times, and every time I've watched it in the dub version.
But at the same time, I can understand like sticking to what you know, because like there are some things that I'm like I can only watch it dubbed because that's how I first got into it, and there are some things that like even though I've been told the dub is really good, I can't watch it dubbed because I watched it subbed the first time, and I'm too used to hearing those voices. And
that's definitely a topic we could have.
I can get that with Dragon. I can get that with Dragon Ball.
I feel like that's something that happens with a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd just say in general they're both phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Both iterations.
I was about to say, give us the Japanese take, guys.
Yeah, no, they're great. It's very small little nitpick things. Like, and one thing in the first episode of the English dub that I think then they fell off of, which was really good, is that the team was doing the approach where they wanted to kind of directly translate everything, even little honorifics like senpai. So in the first episode in the dub, I remember she calls him Senior Muto, and I thought that was just like kind of weird. But you know, it's a choice. And again, in that time, I think the approach was more typically to just directly translate everything, and it, you know, fell off eventually. So it wasn't really a big deal at all.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just think back to peak emotional moments, and both Japanese and English were so good. I also really like Rue's voice actress, and you don't see her come up a lot recently. So I think it even just makes me feel like she really has her own English voice and her own role. I'm not like, oh, that's so and so, you know, which I really like. So yeah, they're both great. You could watch either.
Production of Princess Tutu is just phenomenal.
Yeah, like I can't think really of any complaints.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, I mean, voice acting was one thing I had no issues with in the Japanese version that I've watched. I can't, in all honesty, I can't think of anything I had any issues with in this series. Even the nitpicky things of, there was a lot of stock footage. I actually enjoyed watching the stock footage. So,
wholeheartedly agree.
I mean, stock footage and transformation scenes are just something that's going to happen in a magical girl show. And at the end of the day, this does fall into that genre.
Yep.
Although there was one bit of stock footage that didn't get HDified properly for some reason and is rather pixelated, but that's a minor quality control issue with the upscaling, not the actual original production. So so
guys,
there's a negative nitpicky.
Do you guys want to go into our final thoughts and ratings before maybe? I mean, do you guys want to do a spoiler room today?
Sure.
Because I have a couple of things I'd love to talk
Yeah,
about.
Sure.
I'm so down.
Like the whole entire back half of the show.
Yeah, please and thank you. But before that, who wants to go first? I feel like I should be able to go last. I think that's how this works.
You do, yes, as the host choice.
Can I go first? I've honestly
no.
Low key, I've honestly been kind of like looking forward to like actually talking about this show and getting the chance to rap about the show with you guys. So as I said in the beginning, I watched this all over Christmas break. It was my first time watching, when did the show air? In the early 2000s or late 90s?
I'm gonna say early 2000s, but
I'm checking right now.
Okay.
Aired 2002 to 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, ages like a fine wine. Like, it does the George Clooney effect with this show. Man, you just watch it and you're like, oh, I'm swooning over here. This is, oh man, the show is so good. I can't think of anything wrong with it. Like, it is episodic, yes. But then again, it builds to the grander things that are in the back half of the show. There's a plot developing. Why is everything so fairy tale-esque? Why are there like animals and humans hanging out with each other? Why is their instructor a cat and they don't even question it? Why does he want to marry the girls? We don't know. But you know what? We may find out in the spoiler room. Guys, this show is really good. If you haven't watched it, then go watch it. It's on Hulu. Or if you want to go and buy it, then I don't honestly know where you can buy it. Check rightstuff.com. You may be able to find it there. But if you have a Hulu subscription, definitely give it a shot. The dub is rock solid. And from what the lovely hosts over here have said, the Japanese is also pretty stellar as well. Bottom line, I love this fucking show and would watch it again in 10 years. As a quality check, I've honestly gone back and thought to myself, shows 10 years ago, do they still hold up today? I'm very curious.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. I can go, and to spare us from it just being like 30 minutes of rambling, this show has just been this show's been a favorite with me for a long time. One of the earlier shows that I really sought out and fell in love with. One of the first box sets that I bought, show that I've seen so many times, and I do my best to share it with people, unless they are obviously of amazing caliber and have already seen it. Cassie, John, Get, etc. And there's so much I love about it. There's so much rewatch value. It's just so well crafted and well put together. It honestly breaks my heart when people say that they don't like it. It just all around love it. I could not give it anything less. It is just a phenomenal show, and I recommend everybody give it a chance.
Mm-hmm.
John?
What to say that hasn't already been said?
That you want to marry Mr. Cat.
Oh,
He will treat you right, John. He just breaks out into cold sweats. Ignore that.
I've just remembered that scene with what's his name? I've forgotten his name.
The extra guy?
The extra guy. Where is he?
Femio.
Where he says to Mr. Cat, "I would have married you if I was a girl, but alas, I'm not." And Mr. Cat is just like in the face. There's so much good about this series. I loved it. I loved it.
Good.
Yep. Very
Craig,
good.
did you give it a love it too?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, thank God. Great. We got another love it across the board. Frag, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I love this show too, and I'm really happy that something I got to share with people made them love it either even more or dragged Craig into the abyss with us.
Hey.
So,
I mean,
Yes.
it was an I binged it. It was an enjoyable binge.
you can binge it, you can watch it a little at a time. It's one of those good shows that you can do it either way.
Yeah.
And like Cammie said, the show means a lot to me for a lot of different reasons. I love shows that I can go back and rewatch and get something new every time, but might be, a little lighter than an Evangelion.
Oh, yeah.
But
Very
a little bit, but a little bit more intense than, I don't know, the average magical girl show that might have a little bit of foreshadowing, but nothing nearly as masterly crafted as Princess Tutu. It's that nice sweet spot where I can watch this show no matter how I'm feeling. If I'm in a depressive point in my life, I can watch this show and feel a little bit better. If I'm doing just great, I still want to share it with people and watch them enjoy it too. It's just a show for any time of the year with any type of person. Because I feel like regardless if people are turned off by the first couple episodes or not, there is something for everyone to love if they can get a little further. However, not everybody's going to make that commitment. And of course, there's still going to be some people who are unsatisfied. But I do think the vast majority of people who just give this the actual shot it deserves end up at least liking the show by the end, or at least what it's attempting to do. And I appreciate it, and I will continue to appreciate it probably forever. It's one of my top animes and one of the ones that I love the most. So
Cool.
I love this show.
Cool.
Let's burn it. Just kidding.
Ultimate irony. Ultimate irony.
I think that was good.
Yeah.
Good review, guys. Let's slip into our spoiler room for a little bit.
Okay.
But if you have not watched Princess Tutu, go and do it. It has our full recommendation. Everybody loves it. Everyone. We're the only 4 people on the planet.
We're the only people that matter. All other podcasts, none.
All other people don't matter. Just take our recommendation. Go and watch it. It's great. But if you haven't watched it, please go away because we don't want to spoil anything for you. It's one of those shows you don't want to be spoiled on. So, How do you guys feel about the fact that duck stayed a duck?
I'm fine with it.
I have to just for like a little bit of solace. And I mean, I think it does fairly hint at it enough in the end. I just assume we're at a position where Fakir is writing a story to bring her back to being a girl.
I'm gonna accept that as my
imagine
headcanon.
it.
I'm gonna accept that as headcanon.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Either way, I think it could work, but like that's what my little heart wishes for.
But Cammy, here's the thing. What about the cult that wanted to chop off his hands who killed Drosselmeyer?
Well, they didn't.
Well, they didn't chop off his hands, but what if they try and stop him again?
He's gonna keep writing. He was writing it by the end of the show.
Yeah, I think he even said that, like, because I think he broke they found the strings or something, like, at the end, the machine, and he breaks it, and he's like, I'm gonna keep writing.
Yeah, okay,
He said he was going to finish writing the story.
Since it was incomplete. That's cool.
And then he kept writing on the end of the dock.
So yeah,
I'm with Cammy. I really hope that that's what's going on. Because I was just kind of bummed that, like, Rue is my favorite and all, but I was happy she got her happy ending.
Yeah.
And I still think it's a happy ending even if she doesn't become a girl. But I just ship it so hard.
Exactly.
And it might be hard. I mean, I ship all forms of life and all kinds of people, but it just feels a little awkward to be like, yeah, I could totally support him making out with a duck.
It'd be a little painful.
Yeah. No. I totally have to headcanon that.
I'm just remembering the scene of them at the bottom of the lake.
And me.
Yes. I love that. That scene makes me cry every fucking time.
He's just like, and I'll stay, no matter what you are, I'll stay by your side forever. And then she's like, you know, I'm weak, but being with Fakir always makes me stronger. And I'm like, couple fucking goals!
I like that. Yeah, I mean, the really only thing that I wanted to really bring to this table, or this room rather, was Drosselmeyer. I wanted to get you guys' opinion on Drosselmeyer as a character, as to like what he did and how'd you feel about him at the end of the show.
I can't help but feel like part of his character was inspired by Shakespeare.
I can get that. I really can get that. Also, by the end of the show, I was like, are you a villain? Are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy? Are you just trying to fuck with people's lives for fun, shits and giggles? And then he's just like, well, I'm out. And I'm like,
Drosselmeyer is Drosselmeyer.
Yeah.
He just
I
kind of is.
He is no allegiance.
He's.
I like that he's ambiguous. Kind of like, you know, again, not that I don't even really like making comparisons between the two, but I mean, he's ambiguous.
Yeah.
Kyubey is also ambiguous.
I was about to
it's just
say,
kind of
he's kind of like Kyubey in that, like, he just wants...
he's there to see the story unfold, and
Yeah.
honestly, I like the fact that he's kind of a neutral force. Sometimes he does try to get involved for his own motives, but again, seeing the characters kind of fight against that,
Yeah.
either what he eggs on or what is there is really cool.
And
I
there's
like
and
that.
there's times where like, oh, the story is unfolded in a way that I wasn't expecting, but I'm
That's
liking
true.
this.
When he would enter, there was one episode, I swear, and he's like, this is not what's supposed to happen, oh my god, and then he interrupts, and I think he took, I think it was episode 23, and he took Princess Tutu, like, captured her, and he's like, look, you should do this, because the story's not going the way I want it to.
Yeah, that's why I was like, is this guy a villain? Or,
And then between her and
think he
Fakir,
is.
they're like, no, we're gonna do our own thing. And it's like, okay.
You think he is, Cassie?
No, I'm just saying that I think he just is. He just is.
Yeah.
He is what he is, and he is.
Hmm.
He's
Well
awesome.
said.
I wouldn't say he's a villain. I wouldn't say he's a protagonist. I just think he's there.
Mhm.
I like to. There's a part of me that headcanons or hopes that he's weirdly related to the announcer from Dragon Ball Z.
oh,
That'd be funny.
that's good. I like Adel and how the fact that she helped them escape the cave and she served as a bonfire, which gave birth to Usura.
Mhm.
Who said
There's
Zura?
so much you could dissect from that scene.
Oh. Just like
And they're just,
Zura.
they're just crying, and then they're like, but let's dance around it, 'cause it'll make her happy.
Yeah.
And then, like, Uzura gradually, like, getting the memories of, like, where she came from and stuff. So nice.
Very
So
cute.
nice.
Zura!
And you know what? Just, like, briefly to touch on it, when I started the show, and again, I think in the first half, and, like, I think by episode 12 or so, it's, like, clearly obvious, but call me blind that I didn't actually see, like, the Fakir and Duck, like, romance thing at first. But then it was just, like, this beautiful, pleasant surprise that I just, like, fell in love with and destroyed me.
No, I don't think that that's even on it, because they I don't even think that the way they portray like Fakir and Duck is like how you normally see it with people who are like grrr at another character, because he's really mean to her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of a shitlord.
But not in a way that you're like, oh yeah, I fucking ship that. No, he's just
Yeah.
actually a dick.
Yeah.
So you not automatically wanting to pair those two off, I think actually makes a lot of sense, because I did the exact same thing.
That's me.
But I like how the reason why they become so romantically involved, or at least enough to actually rely on one another, is something that's gradual from learning each other's secrets. And I am such a freaking huge, like,
He saw
oh god, I'm such a sucker for that. That's why I love things like Miyamura-kun. Or, what is it? My brain's dying. Horimiya, sorry. Because there's this thing about, like, two people sharing secrets and that making them, like, become closer. And, you know, she learns his secret of, like, why he's so, you know, why he is the way he is. And why he's so broken inside, and why he wants to actually protect Muto instead of hurt him. And then suddenly, you know, because she knows that, she's just like, yeah, I'm a duck, by the way.
That reveal scene is so cute too.
She saw.
Oh, especially because it's not even like he like even like, I love the realization, because he's like shocked by the fact she's a duck, but then he realizes that, like, you know, she knows his secret. And he had that moment of weakness, and he's like, fuck.
That was a bit.
Yeah.
That was a bit.
So
She
good.
saw him cry, so he was like, "Oh no, masculinity be damned, fuck."
And then she transforms and she's naked and he throws the clothes at her. It's my favorite.
That scene was glorious. I loved it.
Oh, so good. So good. That's another thing that, I mean, doesn't need to really be stated too much, but, like, yeah, no fan service in the show. Very, very tasteful.
Yeah, I was gonna say, very nicely done.
There's a number of
People are naked. They're naked for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, there was one detail that I noticed during the transformation sequence of Duck turning into Princess Tutu, that after I saw it, I couldn't unsee it, and there's like defined nipples.
She got nips. Nip nops.
Did not notice that one.
Honestly, I don't even find that as sexual.
Yeah.
though.
No,
I
it's
wish
just
more
like-
anime did that.
It's just like, it's there because she would have nipples. And I was like, okay, fair enough. It's just like, was that there before? I don't remember seeing it. And just ever since, it's like, okay, yep.
I just remember seeing Bubbles when she transformed. I'm like, okay, that's cute.
All I know that this shows is that, John over here is just a perv.
Right.
Oh no!
I look for nipples where they weren't once
I
before.
don't intentionally look for...
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Is that what the kids are doing these
Oh.
days? Lying about their love of the nips?
Oh god.
I'm gonna shut up.
Um,
now.
Listen, I wish more people had nips. I went to the freaking Free movie
No
and
nips
wanted
in
nips,
sight.
and there's never nips there.
Oh no.
Nips are good.
Yeah, so the only other thing that I can think of is just like, hey, so the back half of the show is just like his love heart shard got corrupted by Raven's blood, and then the whole reveal of Rue, which was fucked up.
I mean, I didn't love it because, like, it was sad, but it was just so powerful. Rue is really one of those characters that, like, on rewatch, I've grown so much to
I
appreciate.
can
But,
get
like,
that.
even just the first time that they knock you with that, where she finds out, and then, oh god, the scene where she's, like, clinging onto Muto's leg and just screaming and sacrifices. Oh god, just out, like, instant, like, jam this character into my heart, stab her there. And then on rewatches, just getting the subtle bits and pieces of, like, her motivations and stuff, and how, again, Cassie, like you said, she then, even, like, before the initial reveal, you do see bits and pieces of her doubting what she's doing, and being like, am I being told this more than do I feel like this is right? And it's very, very well done. I feel like she's honestly a good example of someone who, in whatever ways you want to put it, has gone through abuse and brainwashing.
Yep.
And comes out and advocates for their heart.
That's the thing where she, like, the Raven, which is really weird because it only when she turned into Princess Crahy that she was just like, oh, I'm the Raven. Then at episode 13 or 14, it's just like, okay, the Raven's actually alive. No, she's serving the Raven. I'm just like, maybe I may have missed something, but she immediately jumped to, I'm serving my dad, and here's my dad, versus, oh no, I am the reincarnation of the Raven. Because that's what I thought watching the show at first was, oh, Fakir is the reincarnation of the Raven, and he's essentially being abusive and a dick to Muto because he's just like, you fucking shattered your heart to seal me away, but we're stuck together forever, you little bitch. But it's interesting, the whole entire dynamic of it all.
Well, I remember you saying that you thought that was going to be the case, and that's why I laughed, because Fakir is the farthest thing from the Raven. He was traumatized by ravens, and, they destroyed a lot of important things in his life. If anything, he has more PTSD than anybody does in that show when it comes to Raven.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Crahy ever explicitly said she was the Raven. If anything, Ravens delivered her the shoes.
Ah, yes.
And she acted and had, like, she acted evil, and she had the, aesthetic, but I don't think she blatantly ever said, I'm the reincarnation of a Raven, or I'm the Raven, or even I serve the Raven, until later on. I mean, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she ever did that.
I don't think so.
I was going to say, I'll take your word for it, so.
Yeah, I think you're just overthinking it a little, which is fine. The show makes you overthink a lot of stuff. The only other thing I wanted to ask you guys about before we run out of time, because this is something that actually does bother me a little bit about Princess Tutu, and is the only thing that I feel brings it down a little for me, is basically, like, I understand why Muto is the way he is, but how did you feel about his, like, I guess his quote-unquote character development? Because for me, he seemed to be, at least up until the very end, mostly just a really pretty plot device for everybody else's development.
Yep, he is,
he's
that canvas.
For most of the series, he was just a pretty plot device for it.
Personality of cardboard.
Well, it's just I think my issue isn't even with the personality of cardboard, whatever you want to call it. I think it's that in the first part of the show, it was we've got to collect the heart shards to heal Muto to give him his heart back. That I was fine with. Mm-hmm. But then they turned him evil.
Mm-hmm. You don't think it was needed?
And that of course was needed, for Rue, for her development.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing. Like, I feel like Muto as a character never was a character.
Oh, it's the Eren Yeager effect from Attack on Titan, where it's just like, do you move? Are you the plot device, or do you move the plot forward with your actions versus like you essentially being put in situations that would force the plot forward?
Well, I mean, it's not even that. I'm saying he is the trigger to the entire plot, and that's great. But I wonder if he, I love Muto, and I love that, at the end of the day, him and Rue ended up getting to be happy, and he got to stand up for himself and fight the Raven. That freaking battle scene was so cool. It was
really nice.
But I just was wondering, if you guys also, felt that way. I mean, it's fine if you don't. It's just, to me, I wish that we had a couple more episodes to see Muto as a human being.
I could definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like I got the most of his, actual personal growth honestly at the end of both arcs. I actually really liked kind of what they hinted at around 10, 11, 12, and then in 13, where he is starting to kind of feel like, I want to know about these things. I am compelled for whatever reason to learn more about Princess Tutu. Mm-hmm. Then he basically at the end of 13 makes a decision. Again, you could argue for being shown love. But I don't know. I enjoyed that. And then, of course, I did enjoy getting to see him as, Siegfried. I do think that kind of when he became evil, he really was just, kind of the plot device.
Yeah.
He has phases, He goes from mindless doll, and then he goes to, kind of, maybe you're coming into something, Princey, and then he goes to, evil crow prince, and then he goes straight up crow, and then he goes back to who he is, and that development definitely felt a bit less natural. It felt a bit more jarring than the other three. I could definitely say that.
Not that it's bad or anything. There's nothing in this show that I would say is bad. It's just the one tiny thing that just makes me go, I wish this could have been done slightly differently.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. I do agree, yeah. They probably would have liked to see just a bit more of him as himself, or just episodes a bit more focused on Muto himself as opposed to everyone else around him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting, too, because, I just thought to myself, it's just well, what if he got corrupted and turned into a crow sooner than the end of the show? Then I'd be well, then at that point, then I guess it'd be well, they defeated the Raven that much earlier, and then they get more what happened after the fact. Credit montage sequence. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't even think I would have wanted, episodes added at the end. I don't think that's what I want, because I think it concluded really well.
Yeah.
I think for me, I would have wanted more of, I guess the way Cammy put it, where he was, trying to be more of, himself and learn more about Princess. He had his own desires at that point.
Yeah.
I want more of that throughout the show. I mean, I would have even been happy if there was more of that showing up in the Raven.
Oh, yeah.
He's, thinking about the things that he desired, and if that could have helped more. And I think to an extent it did.
Yeah.
But I just would have wanted it to be more
him.
Naturally shown. I wanted it to be more him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
That's the only real, tiny criticism I probably could even have for Princess.
That Raven's blood, though, it makes you really want people to love you. Love me.
Real quick. If you can get your hands on the special features on the Princess Tutu DVD, go watch the dub outtakes, because they are just...
Ooh. Yes.
Never touch the
dub
Muto.
Outtakes are...
My face. My beautiful face.
I wonder if I could find them on YouTube. Maybe we could have a little showing after we were finished recording. They're really short.
Yeah. Super good. But yes.
That sounds like a fun idea, if we can find them.
Any other final?
But yeah.
Anything final?
All right. I think that's everything we all wanted to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Princess Tutu's good. I'm finally really happy that we got to watch it. If you have listened to this point, we are going to be doing our spring picks next week. I probably should have said that before the spoiler room, but hey, you lucky guys who stuck around get to know what we're doing next week. Everybody else gets a surprise.
Hey, all right.
So tune in to find out what everybody got to watch for this next upcoming packed to the brim spring season. But for now, let's just sign off. Thank you for listening to Annie Chatbox episode 54, and we will see you next time.
Hey,
Goodbye, y'all.
bye-bye.
Bye, Sweetie.
Peace.
Quack.
取り残されてしまうような平日の昼間へ光を遮り落とした折れた傘伝いした多分滅びゆく世界の中で見て選びと答えに出せないことを引きずり出せよ正体にもし水の泡となる前に
Bye.